So fee is the same agreement, it is the agreement with the Bladen Medical Association for the same service.
That's the one you said be 30% less?
Right, if I look at the agreement, for B, uninsured clients shall receive services at 30% reduced fee for the Cape Fear Valley Women's Health Specialist down payment policy.
So that would be how much we talking about 30%? You talking about $40 you have to pay?
Yeah, honestly don't know what their regular charge is, but that's their standard policy to offer 30% below uninsured clients there for all their services.
So what I'm saying, if a person comes up and they can't, unable to pay, they will have to come up with those resources from somewhere in order to have that particular test done?
That's their normal policy.
Cape Fear Valley, Bladen County, they cannot turn anyone away.
Right, they're going to provide the service, and then they work out a payment plan if they need to.
Pleasure, board.
Okay, another question now? You said that they can't turn away, but this is outpatient, and is optional. Or you saying they will see certain them?
They'll see them and they'll do the procedure, but it's similar to us referring someone to a cardiologist or ear, nose, and throat. If they're going to see them, they have to work out a payment plan if they don't have insurance. If we're not able to provide the service that we're referring them for, which is what this is. It's a biopsy procedure for oneself. We're not able to do it, so we have to refer them out. So basically, we get a pap smear that has some abnormal cells.
Right.
We refer them out for a biopsy for further diagnostic procedure.
And will they treat them as if they have insurance and not put them 6 months down? How do they?
Well, I can't speak for them, of course, and their policies. They've given us this information based on what their policy is. They'll put them in their schedule, and their policy is if they're uninsured, they give them the fee that's 30% reduced from their normal fee.
This doesn't work under the state.
Cape Fear Valley is not going to turn anybody away that needs services.
We don't do state reimbursement on this, no type of state reimbursement on this particular.
Excuse me?
There's no state reimbursement on this particular situation.
Not for us. Now, if we had if we get tooled up and get the equipment and the expertise, usually a physician does this procedure. If we were to do that in-house, then we would get reimbursement because we're doing the service. Cape Fear Valley is going to get reimbursed for the visit, the service.
Information.
I would just like to know, would like for you, I guess, the department to keep a list and give us some numbers, data, how men be referred to, and how long it's taking them to be seen, and how those.
Yeah, I will say it's not going to be a large number. As far as referrals, we don't need to make that many referrals. But yeah, it's very similar to any other uninsured patient who goes to the hospital for services. They're not going to be turned away. Payment is usually a different matter. They're going to receive services in full care, like anyone else. But their ability to pay is worked out with the provider.
Pleasure, board.
Make motion.
First by Chairman Goins, second by Mr. Trivett. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye. Thank you, Mr. David.
Thank you.
Mr. Jim Bicker. And Mr. Jerry.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, gentlemen. I'm here tonight proposing 3 extra positions in the detention center and 2 additional deputy sheriffs to run the law enforcement center and move to new facilities. I have broken it down to where I think we need. We have a tower upstairs. I think everybody's been to the new center. In my opinion, we need 2 people to run the tower. We need 2 people in the booking room. We need 2 to assign to do cell blocks, escort trustees, etc. on day shift. That'd be a total of 6 people working day shift. On a night shift, I'm requesting 2 assigned to tower, 2 assigned to booking room, and 1 assigned to do the tours and escort trustees.
Anyone have any questions?
Sheriff, I have a question. On other counties that have built this similar facility, based upon your request, have you communicated with the other counties that's got that facility to see what the minimum requirement would be, in your opinion, to operate based on your request? How do you stand with that, with the other facilities?
I have, Mr. Brett, and no facility, of course, is act like our state or is new. I've checked with the Major Picking with the Santa County Sheriff's Office, and they have an average of 240 inmates and a max of 252. And in Santa County, they have a total of 8 people working day shift, and we're at 6. I'm sorry, 10 people working day shift, plus 7 administrative people who do paperwork for PREA and etc. On night shift, they have 8 people working night shift, and in their tower they have 2 people. I've also checked with Columbus County Sheriff Hatcher, who has a average inmate of 162 and a max of 192. That's closer to what we have. And they have 8 people on day shift and 8 people on night shift. And their towers set up different milers. They have a tower at the front of the facility and also a tower where the inmates are. And they keep one person in both towers. And they do half the doors in the front and half the doors and so forth and the backside. So in reality, they have 2 people in the tower. They're just separated.
So, sure, let me sure I'm understanding. You want 2 in the towers at night.
Yes, sir.
You want 2 on the floor at night.
Yes, at night,
At
and
night.
1 on the floor. At night.
1 on the floor
Yes,
at
sir.
night. And you want 2 in booking.
Yes, sir.
That's out front when people coming and going.
Well, no, sir. The booking is where, once the officer gets through with people, they carry them there, and that's who processes them. They fingerprint them if need be. They issue their jail clothes, take their other clothes up, things of that nature.
And then the officer that you're talking about, you want one to be stationed 24/7 at the desk when you come in all the time.
Yes, sir. That'd be 2 deputies. That's totally
But
different.
that would cover everything though. The 2
Well, yes, sir. The 2 deputies are working the side. We come to the law enforcement center to go to the magistrate's office or anything to do with the inmate or whatever.
Okay, the reason I'm asking you questions, I went out there today with the people, I had 2 of that place out there. And God knows, there ain't that many cover holes and pits and corners was up in that place.
Yes, sir.
And I told him, I said, rethink this, because I was looking at what you were talking about, and I haven't seen it fully laid out, but I could see all these different rooms, and they was trying to define to me where things were located and the logistics of it.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just wondering you saying you just need 6? Is that what you're asking? 6 people can come on? I'm just asking the question.
Well, I'll take 6.
No, I'm just
But I'm
asking.
asking for 3 additional detention officers and 2 deputy sheriffs to work the law enforcement interests. So it's a total of 5.
But what I'm asking, at night, you're gonna have 5 working at one time. That's what I'm asking. And
You
I'm
have
asking-
5, you have 2 in the control room, 1 on the floor, and 2 in the booking.
No, what I'm asking is,
5 at night,
And
6 at day.
section is to be 6.
Yes.
I'm just asking if 5 is gonna be enough.
Well, Mr. Caldwell, you know, I'm really and truly trying to do the very minimum. And I believe in my heart, this time next year, I'll be back asking for more people. And I think when we all see what this facility can do for us, I don't think I have any problem getting it. I really don't.
I'm thinking we'll be back.
I just want to add this for what it's worth. In the last 10 years, Sampson County has made $15 million on their jail. $192,000 of that came from us last year.
The only reason I was just asking the question is like what you just said about coming back next year, and I'm just looking at where we're going and what direction we're heading, and I was looking at that place, I think it was on
Yes,
the
sir.
inside, the logistics of it.
Yes, sir.
And I was just wondering, will we be back here at this table talking about 2 or 3 more it's just gonna run that way. But
In my opinion, Mr. Caldwell, I think we will, but I think then everybody will understand more why it takes more people to do that. And I'm not asking, I don't want extra people to have a bigger staff. That this is the very minimum, and I'm asking it for safety reasons. And I believe, in my heart, if we get these people, we can start, we can run, and we'll go as far as we can, and we see that we need more people, we'll come back and ask you for more people, if that's the case.
Anyone else got a question?
Have you reached out to other counties to see if we can handle that or overflow that?
Yeah, yes, sir. As a matter of fact, Pender County is full right now. Onslow County has, they rent bed space in Santa County, whether there's anybody there or not. They rent how many, Jeff? 8 or 10 bed space they pay for every month, whether you use them or not. So I believe that we can, Major Pickens told me today in Santa County, he said, if you ever heard those saying, build a new jail and they'll come a running, he said, believe me, they will.
What about the federal?
We're hoping to get federal inmates. However, local inmates would be better for us, because we don't have to transport them, we don't have to do anything. Federal inmates, we have to send people to pick them up and take them back.
Can I ask a question? How many do you have now in jail? How many, in current jail, how many you have?
How many,
Inmates?
inmates? We average, 85.
And the capacity for the new jail?
It will be, total capacity 220.
Right now, we're averaging in county, just in the jail itself, right around 78, which is the max. And then we keep at any time 20 to 30 farmed out of the county.
So right now, we got 85, you can add another 10 or 12 to that. They're in other counties or at central prison in St. Pete.
Sure, that bigger. I got one thing I've been wanting to ask, and maybe not the right time, but I see so many people walking around with monitors on the legs. And the thing I'm asking, is that gonna fool your jail up?
Is it what?
Are they gonna take the people that's walking around with monitors and fill your jail up?
Majority of the ones with monitors are on probation, and probation is doing a little bit different. They got a little different program. At one time, they were bringing a bunch and putting them in our jail, but now I think they're sending them to Bladen. They got a new treatment or a new center where they do the slam dunks or whatever that program is. That's the majority of people with monitors are on probation. We have a few on pretrial release, but vast majority is probation.
That was my only concern, because I see so many of them that I thought they just was holding them because you didn't have space to put them on, that's what I'm saying.
Any other questions?
No, I want one comment though. I agree. I've always believed in that old saying that if you build, they will come. So unfortunately, it's a jail and not a school. But you're right. They'll come. Yeah, please.
Mr. Dallas?
So if you run this like a business, it should pay for itself and be an asset to the county.
I want to tell you, Mr. Allen, I'll be surprised if it doesn't. And I'll come before this board and apologize, because I believe if it's not, it's our fault. If we can staff it, I believe we can make some money off this facility.
Sheriff, I have a question.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
much does it cost them, per inmate per day for us to send them over to another county?
$50 a day.
$50 a day?
That's just for the price of the inmate, doesn't include.
That's not transport, or salary for deputy taking, and Ms. Tribbett, that deputy's transport, it may be working your area, may have to broke into while he's in some county. So,
Their services for- How many inmates did you say that we had?
we average around 85 here, and we'll have 10 to 15 farmed out to other counties, or in central prison.
And if we need to have other counties send us for inmates, how much would it be per day, the $50?
$50, yes, ma'am.
So it's cost of living, okay. Thank you.
What's the difference in a federal inmate and a state inmate, money-wise?
A lot of that's got to do with the contract that you sign with the federal government to begin with. It's a lot more labor intensive, and there are going to be minimal staffing levels, and there's a lot more regulation that goes into the federal part of it. So I think talking with different people, the biggest thing is to get this jail up and running, and maybe a year or two down the road, look at the federal side of it and bring that on. They're saying it's an awful lot to try to bring the federal side in if you get all the kinks worked out. So that would be definitely something we could look at down the road.
Mr. Chairman, can I clarify one thing?
Yes, sir.
What we're asking for is very minimum, And, our jail inspector who comes down from Raleigh, Mr. Charles Brown, he had the final say, and I'm hoping that what I'm asking for will suffice. But he's coming, he will come before the jail opens, and, he'll make sure it's staffed like it should be. And I'm hoping these numbers will cover that.
When y'all open up, are y'all gonna be ready just to utilize all blocks of it when you come in? Is that what
Yes, sir.
We want to
We get these
utilize
people.
all blocks of it, everything's in.
If, with the way the design is set up for classification purposes, we'll have to utilize all the blocks. And so that's part of the reason now why we're having to send some people out is due to classification. You have two members of the same gang, you can't have them housed together because that causes problems. So sometimes we'll take one, keep one here, and have to send the other one off to Sampson or Brunswick or whatever.
My recommendation is to approve
This,
the request.
this is gonna lay on the table till we meet, till the next meeting. We're not gonna take any action tonight. When you deal with money, it lays on the table for one meeting.
Okay. Sounds
Sorry.
All right, at least you know where I stand.
I think I know where y'all stand.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all for listening to us.
Mr. Chuck Eustace.
You got that copy of all over here.
Okay. What we're here for in this part is about the new proposed bylaws for the EDC. As I think most of you know, the bylaws we have before are over 50 years old. There was a lot of stuff in them that was just not relevant till today. There were a lot of things that you need to be able to do today that were not in those minutes, in those bylaws. So about 3 meetings ago, the EDC board decided to look into a completely new set of bylaws. We started looking around to some of our neighboring counties, and we talked to a couple of them that had never seen their bylaws before. But fortunately, Brunswick had just gone from a private entity to a public advisory board, which is exactly what our board is to you all. So we got theirs, we tweaked them a little bit to make them what we were looking for here in Bladen County. And I think you all have had copies of those they've had those. They were sent to you all under the suggestion of the EDC board that they have been approved, and that was unanimous in them. Just to hit a couple of the highlights, they do point out that it's an advisory board. We set 4 meetings per year. They're kind of quarterly, but we gap the summer just a little bit, so it's like January, April, August, and November. It allows for more meetings. You know, we can call a meeting on short notice, and actually we have already done that. Things are busy, and the folks have been on the EDC board have been very responsive at getting to those meetings and allowing for input. So again, the copy that you have has been reviewed by the EDC board, and it was suggested unanimously that they be adopted as the new bylaws. Any questions about them specifically, you all? I will say that one thing that's also in them, what was suggested was adding one more commissioner to the EDC board, since economic development was such a hot topic. So that would be something that we, hope you all can do at your earliest convenience as well. So.
Motion to table was second. Second by Mr. Montgomery.
And if you have any specific questions when you read them, feel free to call me at the office. I'll be glad to address them that way as well.
Greg, can you make sure everybody gets another copy of that? They weren't in the packet, so. I don't remember seeing it.
Okay, well, I apologize.
That's all right. And we'll put it on the next meeting and we'll go. So you don't have to, unless you want to.
Okay, well, in the meantime, if you have
Any
questions, call.
questions? Yeah,
That's easy.
Call Chuck. If not,
I got a copy of it.
any more discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed? Thank you, Chuck. Advisory point.
Make a motion to table.
Second.
Second by Mr. Carter, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Keep Bladen beautiful one.
Let's say she is interested in staying, so I make a motion that we
Let's not,
keep
if
it
that be among the
as-
goings to, reappoint. Second by Mr. Trivett, any discussion? All in favor say aye. County manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to review the calendar with you for the remainder of the month of April and the month of May. And point out this Thursday, the 20th at 6 p.m., the board has a meeting scheduled with our legislative delegation, and that will be located at the Health Department. And one thing, we will review the goals of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, and then if there are specific issues that you know of now that you'd like for us to be sure to include on an agenda, please, if you will, let us know. And we'll be glad to do that, or I'm sure, we can discuss items as they come to your,
Do you have a copy of those goals?
I can get them to you.
Can you have her email too?
I will, we certainly will.
I just let this know I won't be here that week. I'll be on vacation. And I'll be able to.
How dare you go on vacation? I got 3 meetings that night. Yeah, okay, go ahead, Ray.
Okay.
Sorry.
Then on Monday, the 24th, as already been mentioned, we have a special budget meeting at 5:30 that evening. On Saturday, the 29th at 9 a.m., the Child Abuse Awareness event. So there's a walk from San Jose Restaurant to the Bladen County Courthouse, and then activities will be held here on the lawn. Moving over to May, there's a prayer service on Monday the 1st at 8 a.m., as well as a Board of Commissioners meeting that evening at 6:30 p.m. On Wednesday, the 10th, the Association of County Commissioners County Assembly Day will be held in Raleigh. On Thursday, the 11th at 7 p.m., the Bladen County Fire Association meeting will be held here in Elizabethtown at the fire department.
Greg,
Yes, sir.
is any way possible we could get a county vehicle on that 10th and see if anybody wanna come?
Yes, sir.
And all of us get together instead of this
Yes, sir.
driving up, we all can maybe go up together to 3 or 4 one door. On the 10th.
We'll be glad to. On the 15th at 5:30 p.m., there's a Board of Equalization and Review meeting. And then at 6:30, the Board of Commissioners meets. On Monday, the 29th, offices are closed in observance of the Memorial Day holiday. And on Wednesday, the 31st, from 9:30 until 4, there's a Human Services titled What Every County Commissioner Should Know, and that's a video conference. The closest location here to Bladen County is in Wilmington. And so if you all are interested in attending that, please let us know, and we'll register you.
Okay,
There. Sir, item B, yes, sir, thank you.
We do it, I'm sorry.
I am, yes, sir. Item B, the board is requested to consider approving an amendment to the voluntary shared leave policy. We discussed this briefly at our last meeting, and basically the only change will be to delete the provision that requires employees to be employed with the county for a period of 1 year. It would just, there would be no time referenced in the policy, and so.
Y'all's pleasure,
So
Lord.
moved.
Motion by Mr. Carter, second by Ms. Trivett, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you. And item C is to
Mayor, I
request.
just like to make a
Yes, sir.
comment that if we have policies that are not fair to our county employees, we need to encourage people to bring it forward and let's make it right.
That's a good point.
Okay, thank you.
Item C is the board's requested to consider an amendment to the courthouse security ordinance. Several of you may recall that this was established and adopted by the board when the courthouse security measures went into effect here at the front door of the courthouse. And a provision in that policy or in that ordinance states that identification badges like this, and you all have one to enter the back door of the courthouse, will be provided to employees and attorneys and others who have regular access to the courthouse at no charge. However, a replacement fee of $25 is charged if a replacement card needs to be made. That was not intended to be a financial burden to anyone, particularly employees. And so the measure that would be amended is to basically provide for one replacement, and then after that, a charge of $5. And we've talked with the sheriff and Captain Singletary, that does cover the cost. Those cards are made at the sheriff's office, that covers the cost of the card, and I think that serves the purpose. So that would be
Does
recommended.
that need to be on the table?
Not, well, because we don't have a unanimous,
Okay.
a full board here tonight, it can be voted on tonight and then voted a second time at our next meeting. So if it could be approved by this group tonight, then we'll have it on the agenda for the next meeting as well.
Anybody got any questions?
You have something with the fees on the inlay side?
Yes, sir. Well, it
The
changes,
same fees, you just have the
it
same?
reduces the fee from 25 to 5.
Motion by Mr. Dallas.
What do you do?
The table, I second.
Wait a minute, Greg said he wanted us to vote on it.
If you'll vote on it tonight with this group
Yeah,
here,
we'll
then
vote
it
on it
requires a
again.
second reading because we don't have a unanimous attendance here.
Or we come from sitting two of the guys.
So then you vote to approve or not?
I
Vote
second.
to vote on again. Second by
I second.
Of course,
Cardell, any discussion?
of course.
I'm coming
Is it
to you.
somebody pending? I'm sorry, I didn't know, I thought you were gonna miss me. Is this affecting someone right now?
Well, there was an issue that came to our attention
Okay.
recently, and so it would be, that matter's been taken care of, but this would,
Okay.
it brought it to our attention that we need to address it for future cases. So,
Okay.
Hey, who all gets access to that code? Every employee?
not every employee with the county, but people who work here in the courthouse, and certain department heads who have frequent access here in the courthouse.
Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We'll do our second, reading next meeting. Second vote, second reading, second approval,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
second vote.
All right.
All right, Greg, anything else?
No, sir, that's it, thank you.
Individual delegations wishing to address the Board of Commissioners. If not, we'll consider in a closed session in accordance with NCG S 2483-318.11A for industrial economic development and NCG S 143-318.11A 6 personnel. Motion to go in closed session.
Second.
Mr. Dow, second by Mr. Gooden. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's take about 2 minutes, I'm going to go.